You are along for the ride with the Mad Dog and Cole Trickle Dickle Farrell.
Let's go.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm.
Welcome to episode one. You're with Lauren the Mad Dog Morel. That's me. I'm raising my hand because I'm dumb. This is video, but it's not. And my producer, the man behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and the guy making this actually happen because I don't know anything about this other than to talk. Cole, the Moto Master Pharaoh, legend.
What's happening? First of all, that was a very kind intro from you. Second of all, I'm doing nothing more than clicking the emails and opening some links and praying to God that it works. And so far, so good.
So far 100%. You're hitting it on the head. Home run. All right, we're done.
Hey, that was a great episode.
Cut. Perfect episode right off the get go. Short, but I do tend to be a little hyperactive, as Cole knows, and my listeners will learn. Sometimes we get we'll go on a little side spur, dirt road, so to speak. But what we're about, what are we about? We are about just stories, people, um, just good times, life on the road. I travel a lot for my work. Uh, I own Mad Dog Media and Marketing, and I contract to several companies doing event logistics and activations. Um, we have a lot of adventures to cover. Uh, I'm really grateful to have Cole, as he says, pushing the buttons and clicking the links because I'm honestly serious. I have no freaking clue what's happening over there. He just tells me to talk.
Yeah, but you're the guy that could wire up a Dodge Diesel with some new speakers, and you could do a whole boat by yourself. So don't sell yourself short here on your technical abilities, all right?
Yeah, might have some abilities in other directions, but yeah, no. So we're just gonna BS. Couple of great friends BSing about adventures, and we'll probably reflect some. We'll probably perspect some. We'll probably respect some. Actually, speaking of respect, I want to give a shout out for reals to this hotel I'm in tonight here in Gallup, New Mexico. It's a Comfort Suites on the east side. Their entire lobby is dedicated to the American military, POW, MIA, veterans. It's literally, I just took a walk around the lobby, and even in their breakfast room, they have a little nook that's actually set aside specifically, with its own table with a single chair and a dog tag hanging there, plate, and the POW MIA, that symbol right above the table. Um, and it's like, always remembered, never forgotten. It really got me. It got me right in the feels, man. So I definitely want to give them a shout out because we don't see enough of that kind of patriotism around anymore.
Yeah, that's
So
huge. That's especially when it's something you're not expecting, and then you see some out of the blue patriotism like that, and the fact that they're willing to put their whole business on the line and show what they're about. I mean, who better to support financially than someone who does something like that?
yeah, absolutely. I would definitely stay here again for sure. Even if it was a crappy room, I would stay here because of that. It's actually a really nice room. So, and we'll cover rooms and all that in Along for the Ride because as it turns out, I stay in a lot of hotel rooms,
I'd,
somewhere between 150 and 170 nights a year in hotels.
I'd say that's pretty impressive, first of all. And second of all, I'm glad you said something because I was going to say, hey, you don't seem to be in Lake Havasu. So I'm glad that you brought up the fact that you're in Gallup, New Mexico. So what the heck are you doing there?
So I'm here in Gallup for the one of my great clients that I work for a lot. They keep me very busy. Is Kicker Performance Audio. Um, awesome company. Just they support us. We're wearing kicker gear right now, as our headsets and our mics, and I'm really glad that they stand behind me, and all my harebrained schemes. But in their foolishness, they also trust me to represent them at the Kicker Arenacross series. So I do all the Kicker AMA Pro Arenacross series, which happens in the winter. This year we did uh, I think I left Havasu January 5th and went to Loveland, Colorado. Um, drove an hour and a half through a mini blizzard. Uh, yeah, that was exciting. Fortunately, I have some experience in snow, which we'll get to by episode 5,000 or something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so we did 6 cities with 10 total rounds of racing in 6 weeks.
Hot
So
damn.
yeah, yeah, I flew a lot the first 6 weeks of the year. But they also run, so that's the Kicker AMA Pro Arena Cross Series. You probably followed it year before last on Fox Sports, and the year before that on Fox Sports. And CBS Sports jumped in last year and said, we want this. And so, with I believe the number was about 4 times the viewership on CBS Sports Network. It was a no-brainer. And the Cycle City Promotions Group switched Kicker AMA Pro Arena Cross to CBS Sports. And if you watch it, there's a good chance, as it's going to commercial or coming back, that you'll actually see yours truly, man, in the kicker booth. But they also do the Kicker Arena Cross Summer Series, which is a lot of there. It's a mix of indoor and outdoor arenas. And we had I missed Hobbs, which was the first one of the summer series, Hobbs, New Mexico, because I think I was in Florida, or I might have been in Texas at an American flat track race. And then the following weekend, I was in Hobbs for Kicker Monster Truck Nationals, which we'll go into. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, so I missed that one. That's an indoor in Hobbs. Nice little rodeo arena. Here in Gallup, New Mexico, they have an unbelievable outdoor amphitheater, natural amphitheater in the Red Rocks out here in New Mexico, Red Rock Park. Google it. You will be just amazed. The venue is nice. It's, again, more like a rodeo type arena, but that's how Arena Cross was designed, to run in a little smaller. We're not Supercross. I mean, we don't need 5 acres to set up a track. We have gladiators, you know. So these guys are racing bar to bar, elbow to elbow. So, and a lot can and usually does go wrong. Um, but it's exciting. It's tight. Um, most of the tracks, the guys are turning in a lap in less than 30 seconds or right around 30 seconds. So, that's honking on it. And the summer series is directed. We have pro classes. I think Blows came out and rode last year. Uh, I have to research that. You'll have to fact check me.
I think he did. Yeah, because he was
Yeah,
starting to taper down his supercross stuff, and he was also starting his own business, doing suspension in Arizona. So I think all that timing kind of coincided with him doing some arena cross stuff.
yeah. I think he was here in Gallup last year and just they, handed everybody his back tire. Um, it was just roost for everyone. He was like, some roost for you, some roost for you. Here's some roost for you. But it only lasted the start stretch, and then there was nobody behind him to get roosted. So he was unbelievable to watch. It's on another level. For me, a lot of the fun stuff. I love the pros, and I love talking to them and BSing with them and stuff like that. But the amateurs are so much fun because you get vet 40 plus that have ridden their dirt bike like twice in the last, you know, 6 months that hit a full blown arena cross track. And, they start out in 35-second laps and by the end of the heat race, they're turning 47s and running the chicken out lane over the whoops. So but this one's actually really unique because they set up 100-foot mud bog right down the middle.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because
Yeah.
it's last time I saw Mud Bog was in the middle of Anaheim Stadium at Monster Jam. They did whatever 150-foot death-defying strip, and so when I saw that Arena Cross posted that, I was like, hey, that's pretty fun because you're going to get some New Mexicans coming down from the hills just to watch the Mud Bog itself, and you might make
Oh,
some Arena Cross fans out of it.
oh yeah, for sure. And we like last year, it was sold out both nights,
Wow.
packed house. Saturday, um, Saturday night last year, I think the gates opened at 6, and by 5 o'clock, they had a lineup that was over a third of a mile long.
Holy, it's longer than the track.
Yeah, yeah, really. Um, but yeah, the mud bogs, it's cool because there's I guess you'd call it a bridge over the entryway. And I set up the kicker booth right over that bridge. So I'm
Oh,
like
okay.
literally right at between the two sides of the grandstands, because it's natural rock with a cutaway. So they use the cutaway as the entrance, one entrance into the bowl, if you will. And so that they put a walking bridge over it. I set up on the bridge. And So people are constantly going back and forth, from one side of the grandstands to the other or whatever's great traffic for kicker. But the other really cool thing is when they bring the mud trucks in, um, all those rigs go under the bridge. So like all the nitro, blown nitro rigs that those guys are serious. You know, you can get the real eye burn from you can get the real eye burn from the nitro, like real actual eye burn. And if you don't know what nitro eye burn is, Cole, you're the technical here.
Well, essentially, you have nitromethane, and it gets into your sinuses, and that's all the science I know about it. But it smells really good and it burns like hell.
Yeah.
And in high school and shop class, we would go to the NHRA Nationals in Pomona, and our shop teacher, I won't say his name because it's probably illegal, he would have a contest to see who in our shop class could stand there the longest while they got the top fuelers running. So everybody be puking and crying and coughing. and I'll never forget those memories.
Good times. I did that to myself. I was like, let's see how bad it really is. Uh I was at the Vegas Four Wides with our buddy the Cuskinator,
Oh yeah,
Cuskin
yeah.
Cuskinazinski. Anyways, and I was in Clay Milliken's pit, who's awesome dude. Hopefully someday I can get him on here, that'd be really rad because he's just a regular guy, you know.
I think it'd be tougher to get him off the show.
Yeah, it might be. But yeah, so I was like, these guys are wearing respirators. How bad can it be? So I stood over there literally like under the under the under the semi awning when they fired it up, and I think I made about 8 seconds, and I was like, ooh, yeah, okay, I'm out. It
Yeah,
was like,
hey, it's a full ride, 8 seconds.
yeah, yeah. Well, I was gonna go at least 8 seconds, but I think I cried for like 10 minutes afterwards, just trying to wash nitro out of my eyes. So
But it's not a bad smell. Let's make that very
no.
clear.
Oh, it's delicious.
It gets in your clothes. It stains your clothes.
Yeah.
Your phone case will smell like that, but
Oh yeah.
it makes you hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome though. It's like candy.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That and the track cleaner. It's like a sweet candy mist.
Yeah, like it's like if you could actually snort cotton candy.
I hope you ask Clay Milliken that exact question so we can hear his response. Probably
I'm
like,
I'm
what
actually
the
making
hell?
a note. Snort. I'm making a note right now.
Don't leave that for the maid. She'll be very confused. Snorting cotton candy. What the hell?
Um, and we were talking about Gallup and the venue here. It's just amazing. It's in the Red Rocks. Um, they cut basically a mini supercross track in a giant bull ring, if you will, um, and with 100-foot mud bog straight down the middle, which creates some logistic issues. Like they have to build the sides of the mud bog high enough that it doesn't get the track wet because literally, um, the way Todd runs his Arenacross programs, dude, during normal races, like as soon as the gate drops, as soon as they clear the front stretch, he's got the next class on the gate, which is great. It's like nonstop action. So with mud bogs, when the final truck is staging, he's already got the next class on the gates.
Yeah,
So
that's what you got to do. That's
yeah,
keeps the program moving.
yeah, you got to keep that program moving. The mud bog guys last year could have taken a few hints from Todd. It was it was great, but it ran kind of long in the tooth. Just stuff like the second guy, a guy is staged, the guy behind him is like not even in the truck. The guy goes, he's got to get in the truck, do up his fire suit, put his helmet on, put his belts on, hit the starter, and it goes, ugh. And then 10 people are standing around trying to figure out what's wrong. It's like, put some jumpers on it, get that some bitch down the track, or
Yeah,
get it out of
that's
the way. Hook it to the dozer and get it out of the way. Let's go, let's go. But that's just me.
yeah. I don't want to speak ill of the mud bog community, but I feel like it's more of a laxed program. So now when you're with the Kicker Arena Cross group and they're firing you off, go go go, and you don't have your fire suit on, that's not optimal for
Yeah.
entertainment value.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's like, but it is good entertainment. They're awesome guys. They have some unbelievable rigs. I mean, they've got there's guys with more in their mud bogger than I have in life savings. So, there's that. Right. But anyway, yeah, no, so that's where I'm at this week. Gallup, New Mexico, kicker Arenacross. I've stayed in some not nice places, and I'm sure through the course of as long as we decide to do this, you'll see some of them. But is what it is. Like sometimes you just don't have a choice.
It's sometimes you just need shelter and you get what you get.
Yep. You need a place to sleep and a shower.
That's life on the road, you know?
It's true. It's true. And everyone will learn this as they come along for the ride.
Well, I can't wait till you're in some dingy motel somewhere back in the southeast. It's going to be nice and humid, and I'm going to be in my office upstairs here, and I'm going to go, damn, that sucks, and I'm going to turn my AC up. That was mean. Oh, I'm sorry.
Dude, I have one that would have fit that bill perfect in on my last trip. It was Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And it was hotter than Satan's taint. And it was like it really wasn't. I mean, compared to Havasu, okay, it wasn't hot, but it was like 89 degrees at 8:30 at night and 78% humidity.
Yeah, that's brutal. No, there's some realness to that because last time I was in Havasu, it was 115 and it's hot. Everything
Yeah.
melts. The bushings melted off the front of my truck. I had to replace it. It was no big deal. But the moral of the story is I got home to California and it was 85 and humid and it felt way worse here than 115 and dry. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, without a
I
doubt.
sympathize. Yeah.
Without a doubt. So yeah, I'm sure we'll see some maybe down the road we'll do some stuff from actually the event venue. We'll do. I would imagine that occasionally there's going to be some done in the truck driving down the road. Well, maybe not driving.
If your insurance agent's listening, not driving.
Right, not driving for sure. Not driving. No video evidence there. But yeah. Other than that, it's. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this, and that's the whole plan. I know people that do podcasts that want to. It's all about how can we monetize, right? And I'm not about that, and that's one thing. You know, I've been on several podcasts, and your podcast, the Premix podcast. It was the same thing. It's about having a good time and sharing the stories, not about how do we turn this into a giant gold mine,
The last
'Cause-
thing you need is another job. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping, we've hopefully we got a pretty I'm hoping that we'll have some really interesting guests from multiple motorsports venues and disciplines. Um, you just never know. I mean, I'm always going to ask, because here's the deal: the answer is always no if you don't ask the question.
Also great dating advice.
Yes. Oh, I might have given that advice to someone once.
Yeah, no kidding.
Who
My
was
wife's
that?
downstairs, so thank you.
I love your wife.
I do
how
too.
she
That's why I
puts
married
up
her.
with you, but God bless her. Of course, people say that about Striking Viking too. So,
And we'll get her on the show.
oh,
Going to quickly be a fan favorite.
I'm not sure that's a good
I
idea.
think you're breaking up.
Yeah, no, seriously, we're just I want to have fun with this, and I want to get people that I know and my friends and share their stories. Like we're definitely, I think episode 2, we're gonna dig into the twisted childhood of Cole Trickle Dickle Farrell. Um, I think that'd be great. And as my pops has some time, I definitely want to get my pops on here, get his backstory. Right now we're going, the family's going through a couple of things. So, my mom with the heart surgery and whatnot, but she's doing great, dude. She had that little mini stroke, and it's had some effect, but her recovery is well in effect.
That's
So
great to hear. That's huge.
yeah, been really heavy on my heart. So um and a lot of stuff that you're gonna get on this podcast is emotion, because I am an emotional SOB. I mean, that just straight up, that's who I am. That's what I am. Um, so, but yeah, I think, we're gonna cover a lot of cool stuff. And I think this weekend is gonna be good. We'll probably do like a little short recap after this weekend. I may try and get some just some audio clips from some of the guys at the track, if possible. You never know. It's that's the one nice thing about the good old fashioned cell phone, especially this one, because it's got a great voice recorder. Because we tested it, I can do an impromptu, and then Cole can do all the magic and just add it in. So, um, you know, I'm I'm just super stoked to be doing this. We've talked about this for quite a while, and I'm glad you're on board. It's awesome to have. I could not have found a better producer to have, because it's like it's you,
Well, that's flattering,
you know.
and just getting back to your point of glad we actually got this started. It's like everybody wants to talk about doing cool stuff until it's time to do cool stuff. So thank God we're doing cool stuff.
Yes, right. And let's just keep doing cool stuff. It's I mean, who knows? We most The biggest thing about all this is we want to talk about cool stuff and do cool stuff. And I want to get to some people's stories behind the stories. I want to share some of my road life experiences, uh, good, bad, or indifferent. Scummy hotel where you park your trailer right up against the hotel room door because you don't want anybody to be able to break it open. The door or the trailer. No, it's rad. And I've got pretty good for the next little bit. I've got a pretty stacked travel schedule. So we're going to get to do these in a lot of different places. Obviously here in Gallup, New Mexico, and then last week of the month, I head up to Oregon for Doomfest, which holds, yes, special place in our hearts, because that's where we met.
Yes, it is. Well, it's actually not, but it's where we solidified our
Oh,
friendship.
yes, we met at Industry Ride.
Halloween,
Yeah. Oh, Halloween.
but
Okay.
close. Glamis, California.
Glamis. See, I knew Glamis, but Camp Razor.
Yes. Uh huh. Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. The very first one I went to, which was the second one they put on, which would have been, I think, 13?
Yeah, it had to be 12 or 13 because I wasn't even in the off-road industry yet. So
I think it was 13.
it would make sense.
Yep.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I think it was 13 because I think their first one was 12.
It was whatever year the 1000 was coming out, the Razor 1000, or it had just been released that year.
Oh, yeah.
It was a big deal that someone in our camp had one that was already even built. So that's how I remember that.
That'd be us.
Yeah.
That'd be me. That, and I'm sure, we'll have a bunch of stories about the Muzzy days, but that car, Slayer, that was a great car. It was light. It had, after Mr. Rob Muzzy himself had laid his blessing on it, it was that particular car at Camp Razor. They unveiled it the weekend before Doomfest in 2012, I believe, and we got it in is that 13? Late 13 or 2013, sorry. And we got it in, I think, September, Polaris sent us one. And by October, Halloween weekend of 2013, we had a performance motor built, standard bore, conveniently production 1000 race legal, but made about 25% plus more horsepower than a stock motor. And it was fun that there was nobody that could keep up olds.
Hey, people would do horrible things to get 25% out of their motor, okay?
Yeah,
So
I
that's
know.
no small feat.
No, and that was actually minor because that car ended up with a Magnum off-road Maglite cage and an 1132 Muzzy big block that made 65% more horsepower, documented 65% more horsepower than stock. And mind you, that was documented at 5,000 feet.
Yeah, so imagine if it had been dynoed where real people live, you know?
Yeah.
It would have some major numbers.
That car down at the coast, you could find a little bump in the sand and whack the throttle and stand it up. It was just
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable gobs of ridiculous horsepower. Fortunately, it had decent suspension. It had the best suspension at the time, I I remember I think it was 08, but it might have been 09, when I was Doomfest with Muzzies. We had the original Bad Boy, and that was Rob's custom one-off. Well, in essence, one-off. Hand-built 999 V-twin Kawasaki motor that made more horsepower than any Terex should ever have. That car was, it was just the inception of using Rhinos and Terexes off-road, right? So it's like, I can't remember. I think the Georges made a long travel kit for it, and it had King remote resi shocks, and I mean, for what it was state of the art.
Oh, yeah.
but driving it was just, to this day, and I've driven a lot of side-by-sides, a lot of high horsepower side-by-sides. That was the most frightening side-by-side I've ever driven when it came to horsepower, because the thing was just an animal. And it was on 20, I think it was 25-inch paddles.
Yeah, probably 25.5 inch is probably industry standard around that time.
Yeah, it was about the biggest you could do. And the thing made more horsepower at the crank than any current production turbo car does.
And reliable.
Yeah, it was, as long as you got it started. It had some compression, so Kawasaki ring gears on the V-twin, on the Terex motors. One, I can tell you for a fact, are not easy to change. Two, man, they are they're frail. But you're familiar with Banshee Hill at Winchester Bay.
Oh yeah,
Oregon.
yep.
So, and imagine 10 less years of erosion than what it is now, and no side-by-sides going up it. And I pulled up to the bottom in two-wheel drive with a passenger. The production manager from Muzzy's put it on the floor and went up through the tree shot to the right, through the I went to turn into that little zigzag that used to be a lot more drastic, and it wouldn't turn. I had to actually check up the throttle to get it to turn, and still crested the top of Banshee Hill in two-wheel drive in 2009 in a 1,800-pound car. Still crested the top of the hill at like 52 miles an hour.
Never to be replicated. That moment.
Yeah, no doors, big stand-up cage, stock height, had great seats and belts, but the seats sat at stock height. They weren't lowered. Frightening. You've seen the pictures of it.
Yeah, absolutely. The world's seen the photos of it.
Yeah. Truth. So, yeah. So that's, man, I digress. Probably shouldn't have gone into all that.
Hey, no worries. We'll do a whole episode on scary cars,
Yeah, for sure. Sure. Scary cars, scary bikes. We definitely want to get into scary bikes. And then, just about anything. Obviously, we want to get some people to come along for the ride. And the other thing is we're going to try and keep pretty limited time frames. So you may end up, those of you who lasted this long, you may end up, having to listen to 2 or 3 segments to get a whole part of the story behind the story of someone, because I'm really hyperactive, and I can't listen to a podcast that's more than an hour long. I get like, man, there's stuff that's got to happen. So we're aiming. Cole's my producer director, and he's the magic man that's going to make everything fit in somewhere between 30 and 40 minutes, 45 minutes maybe, but definitely less than an hour per episode for sure, I think.
Yeah, so if you made it through this one, you get the gold star.
Right.
1 for being an original listener, 2 for making it this long. So.
Yeah. If you are listening, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe and get notifications of our next one, which will be coming soon.
Probably the end of this weekend after the races. So that being said, any partners you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I definitely perfect timing. Obviously want to thank Kicker Performance Audio, Kicker Marine Audio. They support me 1,000%. I think you're probably wearing Kicker earbuds,
I
I'm
sure
guessing.
am. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, EB400 Bluetooth earbuds that are waterproof and all that. And I'm wearing a pair of Kicker corded headphones. I have the new cordless ones, but I was afraid to try them on the first episode because I'm nervous about how Bluetooth interacts inside buildings.
A logical
So
fear.
yeah, of course, Kicker, great people, great company, great story, and we'll get into that for sure. In one of the episodes, I definitely want to go into that whole company's story because it really is an American success story and a story of the American dream. So we'll go there at some point. Of course, Bomber Floating Eyewear. Man, Tommy the Bomber Bonacci. And they're based right out of your home county right there in Orange County.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
well, I see the party van often in my
yeah, yeah,
parts. So
yeah. I think their storefront is actually in Costa Mesa. Um, and if you don't have a pair of bombers, you need a pair of bombers. If you do anything motorsports wise, get what I got, which is the polarized safety lens. They are OSHA and ANSI approved safety glasses with nice smoked polarized lenses. So, and they're really cool too. Um, oh, ow, oh,
and they all float, do they not?
they float. Yes.
That's the most
Oh,
important. I wonder how many trillions of pairs are sitting at the bottom of Lake Havasu
oh
because they
man.
weren't bombers.
Yeah. Right. I know you would not believe how many of my friends have now converted. Um, even there's a ferry that runs from the London Bridge over to the casino, back and forth, and I think two or three of the five captains are all wearing bombers now, and a couple of the deckhands.
We'll get that last one. We'll get them.
Yep, yep. So, but yeah, definitely companies that stand behind me help me out. And I'm really grateful to be part of the kicker team, part of the bomber team. Uh, I don't know if we're allowed to say bomb squad,
Yeah, it's America. You're
because
fine.
I think I'll have to ask Wes Miller.
That's a whole nother show.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, someday I'll call him and go, "Hey, you got a minute?" And he'll just be, we'll just do a podcast.
It'll be a 6-part series, so tighten your belts.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, but yeah, I mean, we struggled over a name, but I think along for the ride is fitting because we're going to do this anywhere and everywhere, um, and we're hoping everybody just jumps in and comes along for the ride, right?
For people like me who never leave the house, it's going to be exciting to see where you're at in the world week by week.
Never leave the house. Let me tell you something. If you do not follow Premix Podcast at Premix Podcast on Instagram, go give him a follow, because he gets out to a lot of the desert races, and Cole is a budding photo artist. Uh, you've got some really good content lately, man. I'm
Thank you. It's my new passion. I got to find something to do now with my time, and I want to be at the races, so I bought myself a cheap cannon, and we're letting it rip.
Well, that's I feel that because that's a big part of why I do what I do. I have a passion. I love this industry. I don't care if it's flat track. I don't care if it's Arenacross. I don't care if it's oval. I don't care if it's speedway. The people are rad. I don't care if it's road racing. It doesn't matter. Stock car racing, been there. Go-kart racing, I'm good. Whatever. This is obviously you know, I promised Striking Viking that I would hang it up back in 2010, and I did. And this is how I still stay attached. And, honestly, I'm getting paid to do it. So, hey,
It's a double
hey,
win.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, anyway, I don't know. How are we doing for like a first episode?
We're good, and I think that I'm extremely excited to talk to you when the weekend's done. Hear about these
Yeah,
races in Gallup, New Mexico.
heck yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff, and at some point we will probably um, have some. I'm going to try and get it organized to get some event pictures from like when I'm actually doing these up on the website, which is MAddOG'S Garage, MAddOG's Garage, GARAGE.com. And so I just have to work with one of my rotten kids who manages the website for me, even though she's always pressuring me. She's like, you need to update this. You need to do that. You got to get me this. You got to get me that. And I seldomly do. So she's honestly looking at it. She's probably right. I'm probably failing miserably, but we'll get better, right?
We will
If you're
get better.
failing, there's um yeah, well, hopefully, this all comes out good, and I'm looking forward to getting together next week. Maybe a little shorter roundup, maybe not. Who knows? But we're definitely going to have some fun. I want to thank everybody. Hopefully, all one of you that listens. Thank you, Karina. Um, maybe I can make my kids listen. Uh, No, seriously, Cole, I am so stoked to have you along for the ride. Man, this is going to be a party, dude.
I think that's a perfect way to end this episode. It's going to be a party, dude.
Yeah, rock and roll.
See ya.